Hello, welcome to Art Club. We haven't posted for a little while, so we thought this would be a good time on this horrible, wet, grey day to do a bit of art and a bit of cooking. What are we painting, Mum?
We're painting this beautiful bunch of daffodils we picked from Sophie's garden, and it is absolutely miserable outside, so we need a bit of bright yellow to make our day happier. So I've just started. Sophie's about to make a cake.
So we'll get the cake going and then we will do our art. So I've just got to find the page. This is the one we're doing. It's page 225. It's the snacking cake, which is a really good, easy cake recipe that you can take in lots of different directions. Today, I'm actually going to bake it in a tray, so it's more like a slicey, snacky cake. And I'm going to fill it with apples that I have stewed with some cinnamon and pop some almonds on top. So I have just mixed up the butter, the sugar, the flour, the baking powder, a little bit of vanilla and a pinch of salt. And you just want to mix it till it just comes together. So you don't want to overmix it too much. It's such a simple recipe. The key to that happening quickly is having really soft room temperature butter. Now I'm going to add my eggs. You don't even have to worry about doing them one at a time. That's how crazy I am with this recipe. And half a cup of yogurt. And the eggs again, room temperature. If you haven't got yogurt, you could use buttermilk or milk at a pinch. But yogurt seems to make it extra kind of cream. Yeah, you could, yeah. Okay, just gonna mix that together. Super easy. Pop, 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 pop. And then what we're gonna do, just once it's come together, mix it for a couple of minutes, just until the batter feels kind of light and airy. All right, while that's happening, do you want to do any of your things?
Have I got to talk over this noise?
No, you do. So let's just wait. Okay.
Will we get all of this bit out?
Yeah. Good. Okay, so I don't want to get Mum's paper dirty. All right, I've got my batter. It's beautiful and light and airy, and honestly, that took less than 5 minutes just to throw together. So it's such an easy cake recipe. About this cake recipe is that you can take it in all kinds of different directions. You could make little individual cupcakes. You could do a big round cake like we did in the book, or more of a slab cake, which we're doing today. And the benefit of that, I guess, is it goes a little bit further, and also it takes less time to cook. And that's always a good thing. So I'm just putting the mixture in.
I like your spatula thing.
It's good, isn't it? I know. I bought it the other day from Essential Ingredient in Orange. And
nice one.
yeah, it really gets into all those nooks and crannies. Okay. It's such a good,
so
easy.
you don't put half down and then put...
Well, you could absolutely put half down and then
put the stuff on the top.
put the apple in, but I think just to make it extra easy and yummy and...
but it rises up through the apple.
It does, yeah. It will rise up through the apple, which is yummy, I think. And whoop. I want to make
this
it
is like my mum's recipe, which she did half.
Yeah.
And then did the top on.
So I've got that recipe in Local is Lovely, my first book. Yeah. It's actually called Gran's Apple Cake. But it's actually
a family standby.
It's a thicker cake batter, that one.
Yeah, and you had to make the top so you could do it with your hands.
Yes, it's almost sort of like pastry-ish.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm just smoothing this down so it's even, so it all cooks evenly. You don't have bits that are a bit dry and bits that are a bit gooey. Okay, and then I've got a heap of apples here. I actually had about 6 Granny Smiths that I stewed up. We'll see, we might not use all of them, but we're just sort of sprinkling them on top.
And you've stewed them so they keep their shape.
Yeah, I have. I didn't overcook them. Well, I tried not to. There's a little bit of cinnamon stick in there. And I didn't put any sugar in these apples when I stewed them. It was just a tiny bit of water, a cinnamon stick, and the apples, because I think these Granny Smiths at this time of year are quite sweet anyway. And there's also quite a lot of sugar in the cake batter. And we're going to put a little bit more sugar on top. So I don't think it needed it, but you know, you do you. And pear would be really nice here. If you've got any preserved fruit that you're reaching for at this time of year, cherries would be delicious.
Apricots would be lovely.
anything you've got. And if you've got no fruit, just cake is always good too.
So get that bit of cinnamon sticker.
Yep. So that's looking good. And then I've just got some flaked almonds, actually slivered almonds, that I'm just going to put on top for a bit of crunch.
Do you ever toast them first?
No, you do, don't you?
I always toast them first.
Yeah.
I just think it gives another added flavour.
Yeah, actually that's true. So toast them first, or do what I'm doing and just
do what you do.
But I mean, they will toast while they
They'll
cook.
toast. They will toast. But sometimes they get covered by the
Yeah, that's true.
food.
That's true.
Yeah.
You're so wise.
I know.
Demerara sugar, which I really love to put on my cakes because it kind of caramelizes and crisps up as it cooks. I've just put on about 1/4 cup. And that's it. That's going in the oven, just pressing all that down. Yum. That is going to be a really delicious cake. You could serve it warm with some cream as a dessert, or just let it set and cool down so it will slice up for picnics or painting snacks. Okay, I'm going to put this in the oven. Mum, you're up.
Okay. All right. Can I have some light?
Yes.
Because we have to work in the dark here.
There you go.
Now, what I'm going to do is show you how you can do a quick picture of some bunches of flowers. And what I'm doing is I'm putting water down. I'll show you. I'm just going to spread some water. I'm looking at these daffodils, so I'm spreading water where I think they might be. And it's very random, so I don't want anyone to think, you know, it's got to be perfect. It certainly won't be perfect. And I'm looking against the light to see where I've actually put this water, and I probably won't even hit where I've put it. Then I'm coming in with my paintbrush, my yellow paint here, and I'm going to just let my paint sit on here, following a bit of the space, letting it run, following the shapes that I might have put in, being totally free and getting my feel of this beautiful colour that we've got here in the daffodils. I'm looking for where I'll put this colour here. Then while this is going to dry, and I might come back in here and put in the darker yellow for the centres, which really aren't as dark as all that, but I'm making them a bit darker. So I'll come in here and put this in, and you can see it's going to run into itself, and I'm going to start getting this feel of the daffs, and hopefully they're going to all run around and become some kind of a pattern of flowers here. Let's make this one going this. They seem to always stick out, face outwards, daffodils. And then I've got a few little buds which I like to get just that rhythm going. Try not to make it just like a great big balloon. Try and make it a bit more organic in your approach. All right, so I've got another one here. Then I'm going to quickly come in and paint the jug. So you can see I'm moving that. I want to get rid of the colour, and I always like to have a mess of colours on my palette that I can use as a grey. I love my greys, so I use all my colours that I've mixed to make my greys. And where's this? Because you've got here on page 60. Mum's got a whole lot of information and some great little charts on mixing colours with your watercolour. So if that's something you would like to. So here's my jug I'm putting in. Now I love to hit the boundaries of a page. I hate things being stuck in the middle, looking like they're waiting to have a mount put around them. So I will always try and leave space. And when I'm doing something like this, I'm only going to paint one side of the jug anyway. I'll put the handle over here, and I might come back and put it on later, but I'm really not too fussed about this. There's more dark on this side over here now, so I have gone and put it in. Now I'm going to put a bit more colour. Just let your colours float into each other. Let them sort of move about. They'll start to find their own way. Just give the feeling of it without painting the whole thing. I might put a bit more dark into it just on the side here, over here, and let this come in here, and that's just going to come in, and I've got my jug happening here. And that's all now pretty well got to wait and dry. I can't do much more to that. So over here, I'll put that one over there. This is one I've prepared earlier, this one. So I then can come back in, and I can...
Show everyone better. Can I take it up to the screen?
Yes.
How good's that? Ready
and
to
I'm
go.
going to come back in with, now can I just show you, this is a technique you can use for any flowers. Do you want to hold those ones up too? So I've used other flowers and done just spreading the colours around, letting them run into each other, letting them move about, and then you can come back in and you can define it if you like. This is one that I've defined more. I'm showing you a whole lot of works. Do you want, is that one, can you see that?
Yes.
So you can see I've come back in, I've found the flowers, I've fiddled about and so on. So now I've got to this point where I can come back in. I have to wait for it to dry. And after fiddling around, I'm playing around with things. I might come in and I might accentuate a bit more colour where the rim is. I might put some more colour onto it so that it floats about and I get more of a feeling of the centre of these flowers. I'm starting to put a bit more in, but I'm really wanting it to be free and loose. And the main thing is, it's very important to get darks, to make sure you've got darks in here. So I will actually put a bit more dark into the stems because your darks will push your lights forward. And I'm doing it quickly, so I'm probably, okay, so we're coming in here with another stem. I'm trying to put these in. I just want to have a bit more happening with my darks so that it's going to just have a bit more impact. Can you see that dark highlights here? Then I'm going to let that all dry. This is a bit of a boring process because you have to wait a lot. So I'll come back and I'll show you what I'm going to then come and do is draw over. Once it's dry, I can come in with my pens. So I could really pretty well do that now. And I've managed to draw over something with a pen so that I don't think it's going to work anymore. It's got wet. So I'd come in here and I'd start to think, all right, maybe no, that wasn't my barrow. Maybe I'll come back in here and I'll start to accentuate that sort of frilly feel of the necks. I could come around with some textures, marker pens or something like that, and come in here and get these happening in here. Always try and just draw one side of something. Don't go all the way around. Draw the side that's closest to you. You'll find that, I'll probably ruin these. These are the grandchildren's, but when you're working with these, sometimes if you go over water, they're not going to be happy. Then I'll come around with another colour. I'm just coming around here, coming around, getting my feel of these. I don't, they're getting a bit too uniform. I'll come in with some yellow and come around the petals, get a bit of definition happening without it being too strong. Coming in here, scribbled, it's a scribbled line. We're after a scribble the whole time. Maybe, oh, there's my pen. Maybe I'll come in here and I'll define some of these petals. Coming over there, this has got this is coming down here.
Amazing how the dark just pops everything out, doesn't it?
Yeah. So I'm getting this feel in here and there's these little knobs in there. This is very random. You can see I'm really just having a lovely time fiddling around, finding these shapes that were here and having fun accentuating some of them. I love with daffodils how they've got a right angle turn. They come down and they turn, and I love that. And you've got to look always when you're doing plants as to their characters. Look for that thing and accentuate that thing about them. So I'm putting these little knobs in here. This is very scribbled. But you can see what I'm trying to do is get just the essence of these. Might, if I was doing it properly, spend more time, but I'm trying to not bore you all silly with what I'm doing. Well, the cake's starting to smell nice already. Okay,
that's the joy of thinning it out. It cooks so quickly.
Okay, so you can see I'm coming in here. I could keep going forever with these flowers. And then I might come down here and I might draw around this pot here, but I'm going to just draw on one side. I'm going to accentuate one side. It just gives it a bit more. Does that make sense?
So good.
And I've got a very quick feeling of a bunch of daffodils. You can see I can keep going. Now the other thing you could do which would be quite interesting at this point, which I haven't done on the other one, is to come back in and colour in the background with a colour that would then push the daffodils further out. You know, I could come in behind.
What colour do you think? Would
Well,
a blue be nice?
grey or a blue or something. Let's try it because we've got the other one that's not done. So we could come in and do that. Or which one will we colour in the background?
Would you do a complementary colour?
Maybe we'll colour in the background of this one. All right, so
Have you shown
yes,
from that one?
this
That
one,
I love that one.
this one. I've done that one. Right, well, which one are we going to colour in?
That one?
This one?
Yeah.
All right, so to colour in, I'm going to add some gouache, white gouache, which makes whatever you've got opaque. And then I'm going to add some colour to it.
Is gouache easy to buy?
Gouache is easy, it's just opaque watercolour. So, all right, you've asked for blue.
Well,
It's going to be grey blue because I've got grey on my palette.
crazy.
Crazy, crazy. All right. And I'm coming in here and I'm going to come in and I'm going to define these in like this. And I'm giving it's coming up there. You see what I'm doing? And I'll come down here, and get in here, and it's quite nice doing a background because you can actually tidy up what you've done, and you can come in and you can correct and you can get rid of bits that you didn't really want that were more random, and coming in here.
And I love how you're not being too precious about meeting
No,
all the
don't be
corners and
precious.
edges
And I might put a tabletop here, so that's my table there. So
I love
here,
that background.
it's coming in like that. And I'm not being precious about the colour because you can see I'm mixing as I go, so it's pretty random what it's going to be like. So it's getting a bit bluer up here, but that's all right. Up here and in, and so it goes on. I'm having a lovely time here, coming down here, in there, in here.
We should auction this picture off. Looking gorgeous.
And the main thing is when you're painting with watercolour, don't paint like that so you get brush strokes. Really, you can see how I'm jiggling my brush around the whole time so that I get a terrific movement happening in here, because this is what we're after. And the white gouache is very forgiving because it really does cover, whereas if I just did watercolour, I mightn't get that, and I'd get a bloom when I'm using so much water. Okay, so I'm coming in here and around here. And we're almost finished, in case you're bored, Rigid, watching.
Well, hopefully you're painting along with us. Or just
Coming
sitting
down.
and staring like I am. It's quite relaxing just watching.
Down here, and we've pretty well got this finished. And I mean, I could go berserk and put in a red check tablecloth or something, but you can see here how
So good.
it's pulled it together. So it's come from, this is probably running, it's come from that look to this look by just putting in a background. And you know, a background really makes a big difference because it pushes everything out. What do we do for our tablecloth?
Stripes, checks.
Stripes, checks. Well, it's good if you're doing checks. Oh, I need a pen really. I haven't got one. All right, well, I'm just going to do it with a big brush, so I do checks. All right, here we go. And we'll do checks. And with watercolour, you have to wake your colour up. When you've got it sitting on your palette, it's asleep, and it's got to be woken up by being wet and getting going. All right, so here's my checks. 1, 2.
Oh, I see. That's
3.
clever.
They get smaller as they go
I'm going to bring the
away.
camera over, actually, so people can see this easily. It's such a good idea with that brush.
Just remember to make them start getting smaller as they go away from you. running out of paint.
Perspective. Oh, I love it. Gosh, that looks great.
Voila, we have our painting. These could be a bit neater. I could do them a bit better.
My bag's this one for my wall.
Okay, so we've got our instant, happy, rainy day
Coming in, hold it
painting.
there. So good. Doesn't that look great? Nice one, Mum. All right,
Okay.
well, we'll come back in a minute. The cake's got a couple more, probably about 5 or 10 minutes more to cook, and we will show you that with a cup of tea once we're finished. Thanks, Mum.
Thank you, thank you.
All right, we are finished. The cake is out of the oven. Mum, would you like to share
The painting
Work.
very quickly, roughly done, but you can see how you can quickly get the feel of a sunny daffodil bunch.
Yes, absolutely gorgeous. Don't and you know, I think you don't have to worry about it too much. Don't be too precious.
Don't be
or-
precious. Don't be precious at all. It's you know, you're painting for you, not for the world. Don't think you're creating a masterpiece every time, but just enjoy the whole process of putting colour on paper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And our cake is out of the oven, and
I can't wait.
Look, I would normally wait till it cools down to slice it because it could get a bit messy, but we're hungry.
But I have to leave.
Yeah, Mum's got to hit the road. And it's going to be quite moist at the top because of all those apples. Remember we put like 6 apples in here. Mum made the point just then, I probably should have put the apples in the middle of the layer just to make it more cakey. But I think as a warm apple slice,
This would be lovely with cream or yogurt.
oh, delicious, yeah. And like a really nice pudding, actually.
Yeah, it'd be a lovely pudding.
All right, I think it's going to be messy.
Do you need?
All right, I have a spatula. Oops, which was actually Gran's, your mum's.
My mum's. Oh,
It's going to be messy.
it's going to be fabulous. Look at the cake at the bottom.
Yum.
That is fabulous.
Doesn't that look good?
It looks yum.
Go.
I need a spoon to eat it with. I'll go get a spoon.
And all those delicious, tangy, Granny Smith apples on the top. Whoops. Gonna do the
There's
things.
a fork.
And it's really fluffy. I'm gonna come close in so you can see how light and fluffy that cake is. Yum. And I used all the yogurt in the batter, but
Well, we're
anyway.
going to eat it because it's so hot and so moist.
Okay, so happy baking. In
Happy baking.
like under an hour, we've
Happy
made a
painting, happy
beautiful cake, and we've painted a beautiful daffodil painting to brighten up.
And we feel cheerful.
And we feel cheerful. Okay,
Okay, bye.
bye. It's really, really hot, but it's actually delicious hot. It's like a
delicious
pudding,
hot.
and all the apples on top are still sort of soft and mushy. So as it cools, it will all kind of set together a lot more, and then you can cut it easily and transport it. But as hot out of the oven, it's like a hot apple pudding.
And
It's
my
delicious.
husband would love it with a scoop of ice cream on the top. He would be so happy.
What about
with that.
custard? Custard. would be
Custard's nice, but ice cream melting into it would be
good.
lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
Thanks. Bye. Again.